I'm CJ.
And I'm Robin.
Welcome to the Cozy Kitchen.
Come and make yourself comfortable here with us by the fire.
Let's chat about baking, friendship, and cozy hobbies. If there's time and enough tea, maybe we'll even unravel some fun backstories.
I mean, there should always be enough tea. Hi there, CJ. How's it going?
Hey, good. I'm doing well.
Woo! Now, CJ, let me ask you this. When you bake and you think about just the aesthetics of it, never mind the taste, but the aesthetics of it, what is it that you are looking for? Or does it kind of depend? Like, do you want it to look super polished and beautiful each time? Do you want it to look like it's ready for the cover of a magazine? Or are you at peace with it looking kind of ho-hum? I'm just curious.
So, the perfectionist in me, I am always hoping for that magazine ready, whatever it is, cakes, cookies, even a stir fry. Like anything that I make, I want it to be looking its very best.
Yeah,
Even,
because we eat first with our eyes, right?
yeah. Even if you're making it for yourself, you know,
hmm
you want to treat yourself like you would treat other people too. If you're bringing cake to some party, um, if you bake one that looks really good for yourself, like it's gonna be that much more enjoyable to eat.
I agree. And that's why today I figured we could talk about the way that your baked goods look. Because the thing that prompted me to want to talk about this
Mhm.
was there's this one episode of the Great British Baking Show that I saw, and I'm sure that this is mentioned in multiple episodes, but in this one particular episode I saw, it was either Paul or Prue, I don't remember who it was, but one of them made a comment towards somebody's bake and they basically said, "Well, it looks rustic, this looks homemade." And it wasn't meant as a compliment. And it got me thinking, what's so bad about something looking rustic and homemade? Is it important for everything to look like it's coming out of the most elegant French patisserie? you know? A very bad French accent. I am so sorry. I'm very, very American. And I think I wanted to delve into a little bit about, what are some tips and tricks that CJ you've picked up throughout the years that helps you create that very polished look that you're going for?
Mhm.
And once we talk about that, we can dive a little bit more into how important it is to shift your perspective and love the things that you've baked regardless of how they look. And then I would like to follow it up with a challenge at the end of
Mm.
this episode. But first, let's start with do you have any let's start off with any tips and tricks, CJ, that you have acquired throughout the years. How do you make your bakes look polished and beautiful, like they could be sitting on the shelf of a very prestigious bakery?
Mhm. I I think that, well, it depends on what it is. If you're making a cake, it'll be different from making bread. But what I would say all of it has in common is the way you present your baked good. So it has really nothing to do with the actual product, but
hmm
everything around it, like if you're making a cake and treat it as that like special thing that you've created, get the little cake stand because that's gonna
Oh,
elevate it, right? Like these
always
little
wanted a cake stand.
these little things that surround your whatever you create add to that presentation.
hmm
So I think presentation is probably the most general trick of the train,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I love that, especially because I think about different pictures that I've seen, like food photographers, if they have to photograph a food that might not entirely look super pleasing. Maybe it's some kind of like a minestrone soup, or maybe it's just a bunch of stuff in a bowl.
Mhm,
How did they make it look pretty? And I agree with you. I think that it's, you want the dish itself to shine, but it's also accentuated by what's around it. So if you have, let's say, a cake, and maybe you don't have enough icing to decorate the sides. It's just bare. That has actually been, I think, that was a style for cakes for a while. It was considered very rustic, very elegant
mhm,
looking, to just
mhm,
kind of have the sides scraped clean. Like, there's still a little bit of frosting on there, but not a
mhm,
whole lot,
mhm,
and it's decorated with some sprigs of maybe rosemary or thyme,
mhm,
or mint or something.
mhm,
It's garnished with some citrus peel or
mhm.
some sugared berries of some sort, and it is presented as this is a beautiful cake. Maybe it's against a pretty black slate background or something, and I think you're right. I think the cake stand really does a lot for it. I think it elevates it,
Yeah.
literally.
Yes, it does, it does, and what it shows, I think, is how much you respect what you've created.
Oh,
Um,
I love that. Yes, talk more about that.
it's just if you think if you think whatever you've created isn't worthy, it's not your best, then it shows in the way you present it. Like, if you baked a cake and you just put it on a piece of cardboard, like,
Mhm.
you could have taken that and just put it on a cake stand and decorated it with flowers, um, like, that shows the respect you have for your creation, um,
Yeah.
and if you don't do that, then other people can tell you're not
Mhm.
respecting it.
I love that, and I think inversely, if you were to take even the most beautiful looking cake out of the very prestigious bakery, and if
Mhm.
you were to put it just on, like you said, like just a piece of cardboard, whatever, like, would it still have that same allure, that same grandiose, like, "Oh, this is something special, this is something amazing." Would it have that same awe-inspiring kind of feeling to it?
Yep.
And I don't know that it would. I think that
Mhm.
there's a reason why we are, as human beings, geared to want things based off of their appearances. There's a reason why we want the brightly colored packaging on the big boxes of cereal that you see in the grocery stores. There's a reason why our brains light up when we see like a table that has been beautifully adorned with not just the food, but with different kinds of flowers and with like maybe ribbons or lights or something. Like, there's a reason why our brains respond to that as much as they do.
Yeah.
So even the things that don't look quite so nice, I think you're right. I think that whenever you show that you respect them, then that means making your bakes feel pretty too.
Yes, yes. I mean, like,
Mhm,
I think there's all these social experiments on, um, you could take a bottle of, like, a $200 bottle of wine, and you
mhm,
pour it into some, like, broken coffee mug,
mhm,
and that have people drink it blind, and then
mhm.
pour out a $2 bottle of wine in a fancy wine glass and see what people think. They're gonna think,
Yeah.
"Oh, that wine in that fancy wine glass is the more expensive, luxurious one," when the $200 bottle in that chipped up coffee mug is not gonna do it for them, even though it may have, like, cost way more to create.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that there's a time and a place for wanting to make something look really good. And I think we've talked before about how we will often classify our baking fails as, like, is this presentable? Would I take this to an event? Does it
Mhm,
look pretty enough for me to share it with other people? And I think that there is definitely something to be said about being like, okay, I made this thing. I want to make it look nice and pretty, but how do I do that? What is the purpose of it if it's going to all taste the same anyway? So I feel like the aesthetics of how you make something, it's first of all, I think it's very personal. I think that there's some things that I've seen people do that I'm like, oh yeah, that's really pretty. I really want to emulate that. I want to try that for myself. And then there
mhm.
are some things that I see where I'm just like, that's not speaking to me. So, I think a lot of it has to do with like practicality. Like if somebody put, I don't know, like a whole bowl of fruit on the counter or something next to a cake. I'm just like, "Do you want me to eat the whole bowl of fruit along with the cake?" I don't know. Um, but here's a question though. Let's say you've got a blank slate before you. You have this beautiful cake. It can be whatever flavor you choose.
Mhm.
How would you decorate this cake if you were taking it to a tea party?
Mm, tea party, well, definitely the cake stand. Um,
Yes, need a cake stand for sure.
yes, well, I so you can crumb coat it, leave it kind of naked, like you
Mhm,
were saying. Um, I would think about, what flavors, depending on the base cake, layers, like what would be complementary as
mhm,
filling, as, toppings. Um, Make sure it tastes good first.
mhm.
And
Yes, that
that
is first and foremost. We're in this exercise, let's just pretend that the cake was baked well, and taste-wise, we are good to go.
Yes, yes. And then make sure you have the tools to succeed in terms of decorating. Because if we're talking about cakes, have the turntable, have the leveling so that each layer is of equal thickness.
Mhm,
Um, have the spatula for, like all these tools help you be precise. And
mhm,
as you learn them, you just make it uh to their very best, just do your best, and as long as you respect the ingredients, it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be
yeah,
something you can find at a pastry shop, a cake shop. Um, you respect the ingredients, you make sure you do your best, and it'll turn out you will surprise yourself, and it gets
mhm.
better as you have more experience.
Yeah, just like with actually baking the cake, the more you practice decorating, the easier it gets.
Mhm.
And I will say, it's real easy just to scrape that frosting off and put it back in the piping bag and just you practice piping it again. If that's something that like seen these bakers who will just like they won't make this to sell to people, but they will keep kind of older cakes and
Mhm.
just store them in their freezer,
Uh-huh.
and they'll practice different icing and frosting techniques with these cakes, and it's literally just as simple as you make the frosting, you put it in the piping bag, and they just do different hand motions, they learn how to pipe different things, like if it's grass or if it's gonna be more of a flower shape, and then you scrape it off and you do it again, so that way by the time they get to the real deal, they already have a sense for how they want to move their hands and how much icing or frosting that they need. So, I don't know. I think it's, practice makes perfect.
Yes, yes. I mean, these are all sensory things that you have to,
Mhm.
you can't read this and gain knowledge.
Yeah. And it's very much an art form, I think, in the Great British Baking Show. I am consistently so very jealous of the people who have this artistic talent. They can
Mhm,
paint and they can make the images that are in their head, the ideas that are in their head actually
mhm,
come to life
mhm.
on the like in through their bake. And I think that's where I would probably fail is if I have to make a very detailed drawing with icing, I would mess that up so hard. I would not do well with that. Or at least I would have to I would have to practice for a long time to
Mhm,
get it right.
mhm, mhm.
But CJ, let me ask you this, are there any tools of the trade that you would not recommend for people to have? Is there anything that you would deem unnecessary or anything that you've used in the past to decorate cookies, cakes, any baked goods that you would basically be like, "Oh, you could skip this one, you don't need it."
Mm, mhm. Well, yeah, I think that trying to think. Most of my tools that I tend to stick to are multi-purpose, like, they're not just used for baking, and it's just very useful all around, spatulas, these things. Although
Mhm,
the round table for cake decorating, that is specifically for cake, and I think
mhm.
that one I think is essential. Um
Yeah, I mean, it just seems easier
Mhm.
to have the cake get moved around in whenever you're trying to frost it evenly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
mhm,
Um, I don't know if I have any, because I think I would probably reject it and not buy any, like, unitax tasker. I mean, the one that
mhm.
I think about, and it's not cake related, is the garlic press. That I just don't
Really?
understand. Yeah.
Oh,
I understand that it's useful, you just put your garlic clove in and you press it, but it's like, what else would I use this tool for? It's, like, in my
mhm.
drawer, it's like,
Yeah.
this is just one thing.
Yeah, exactly, and also garlic presses, they don't often like, you have to sacrifice some of the garlic because not all of it gets pressed through. You still
Mhm.
get left with that sad little bit
Yeah,
of the garlic
yeah,
that can't get pushed into the sieve,
yeah,
further, so
yeah. The thing that I use instead is a microplane. So it does the
microplanes are amazing.
yeah,
Mhm.
it does the same thing, and it does a lot of other things, and so it's, like, the same amount of space, and, like, why would I have this garlic press?
Yeah, I love when people use it for a nice little citrus garnish on top
Mhm.
of a cake or cheesecake or something. Or I've seen people also use it for chocolate shavings because it's such a
Mhm.
fine little
Yeah.
tidbit of chocolate.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
So
mhm.
what type of tips and tricks do you have as far as professional level cake decorate or any sort of baking?
I am the farthest from professional level, and I really don't decorate a whole lot.
Mhm,
One thing I would say that has inspired me is just watching people do it as well, just to get inspiration, kind of have a better understanding of the techniques that are already out there, the things that have worked for a lot of people in the past. I will fall down a rabbit hole on Instagram and I will watch pastry chefs and people who bake for a living.
mhm,
Um, because there are some very, very creative people out there, and they do so many cool things with different piping tips, and they show you how to use different tools very effectively. And I will say, I do not have an offset spatula. That is one tool that I see people use over and
mhm,
over and over again.
mhm,
I don't have that, but I do have a bench scraper.
mhm,
And I find that when it comes to frosting the sides of the cake, at least, if I have a multi-layer cake, when
mhm,
it comes to getting that evenly frosted, that has helped me in the past. So if you don't have an offset spatula, if you have a bench or bench scraper instead, that could work.
mhm.
So,
Yeah,
um, yeah, that's kind of it's a very short tidbit. I don't have much, but it's watch other people, practice as much as you can. And there are baking courses that you can take just to learn how to decorate. I think that if you
mhm,
go to I think it's Michael's, the craft store, and I think that they will have baking, or like cake decorating classes that you can take, and I don't think that they are that expensive. So, you could give them a try and just learn while you have a teacher there to help you out.
yeah,
So, yeah, I think that helps a little bit, and also get more familiar with the medium, I guess, that you're working with, because
Mhm,
icing is going to react differently than frosting. Like icing cookies, as you know, CJ, is a very different beast than frosting a cake.
mhm.
So get familiar with the type of medium that you want to work with, have some good video tutorials on hand to look off of, and just kind of, I don't know, don't be afraid, get creative, have fun.
Yeah, and don't worry about making it like a professional level, like, no
Mhm.
like, if you're bringing it to friends or coworkers, whatever, they know you're not a professional, they're not expecting professional,
Mhm.
um, and in fact,
They're
I
just gonna be happy that you showed up with something delicious to eat.
yeah, exactly, they're grateful to, like, have a tasty morsel, I think that, like, it it can even be intimidating if you do bring something,
Mhm.
professional level, like, it's like,
Mhm.
wow, like, you spent this much time, like and, like, it makes other people a little bit uncomfortable if, like, you come in with this, like, professional thing.
Yeah, I think, and I think that at least from my own perspective on it, it's like you kind of have to build up to it, you know? It's like you don't wanna start your first day on the job and you're bringing in this beautifully elaborately decorated cake, you know? You wanna start off just a little bit slower, and then once your work has, like, an important event or something and everybody's chilling in the break room, that's when you bring out the big guns and you get your cake and everybody's like, "Oh my god, it's beautiful."
Yes, yes.
Um, and I also, CJ, let me ask you about this. Have you ever, seen a dessert that is, quote, unquote, "too pretty to eat"?
Mm.
Because I know I have, and it makes me feel honestly kind of bad whenever I go to eat it. It's like, obviously, you want your food to look nice, but there is a time when it's just like, "Oh, but this is way too pretty. I don't wanna demolish this."
Yes, yes, I definitely have. Recently, I was on Instagram and saw this baker who bakes, like, the most realistic cakes, like, decorates and bakes and decorates these, cakes
Yeah.
to look like actual, um, like, jeans or, like, burgers, like, things that look like
Yes.
that you wouldn't associate as being a sweet treat dessert,
Mhm.
and she just makes these amazing things, and those are, like, things that I'd be like, "This is an art piece of artwork, I don't wanna, like, ruin it."
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I was also, I found this one pastry chef on Instagram as well, and I feel like he's pretty popular, but he makes the most beautiful looking desserts. Like this one thing that I was watching him make was this basket of apples,
Mhm.
and every part of it was edible. Like he made the basket edible, he made the stems of the apples edible. He spray painted the apples to give them a gradient kind of coloring like you would
Uh-huh.
see on an actual apple.
Yeah.
And the inside of the apple was filled with some kind of like cream and then another like I'm assuming it was an apple compote of some sort.
Mhm.
So even the different components of this dessert were majestically done.
Uh-huh.
And it's like you get to the end of all that, which is probably a multi-day process for
Mhm.
everything to get done the way that it needed to get done, and it's just like, how do you just chomp into something
Yeah, I
like
know.
that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that there's definitely something to be said about how there is charm and comfort in something that looks rustic and homemade, and I just, honestly, in some ways, prefer that because it means that you can just enjoy it for what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, there's this humanity to it. I feel like in this age of AI and everything, like you don't know what you're like on Instagram, like is it real?
Yeah,
This might just be generated by a machine.
it's
And
true.
anything perfect these days, I find it very suspect. Like if you have perfect writing, like that was
Mhm.
not done by a human. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
So it's these little imperfections that I actually value more.
I agree, and I love that. And that brings me to the challenge part of today's episode. So, CJ, what I would like to challenge the both of us to
Mhm,
is I want to challenge us to make a dessert, or it doesn't have to be a dessert, some kind of baked good that is traditionally just not a showstopper. It needs to be something like, I don't know, like just a regular old chocolate chip cookie,
mhm,
or maybe it's some kind of a like a bar kind of situation,
mhm,
or maybe some kind of a pie.
mhm,
And I would like for us to pick something to bake, to experiment with photography and showcasing how we can make this bake retain its kind of homemade qualities, but also have it shine in its best light, you
mhm,
know, and we can use cake stands. This might be an excuse for me to buy a cake stand. We can use different props, we can use lighting.
mhm.
Let's experiment a little bit with our food photography and let's see if we can make something look amazing. But the challenge is let's see if we can take something that looks rustic and homemade and let's play with food photography skills and see if we can make it shine in its best light.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you take the humble apple pie and you make it, like, special.
Yes, 100%. And we can even share our photos with you on this podcast. I'm sure there's a way we can put it in the comment section or we can add it somewhere. I don't
Yeah.
really know, but we'll figure it out. But
Oh,
either
we'll
way,
put
we are
it in the
going to pick.
comments, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there's gotta be a way to do it.
Yeah.
So, we'll pick some desserts, we'll show them to you guys, and wish us luck on the challenge.
Yes. Well, it was very nice to talk about, we went kind of philosophical.
Yes, yeah, this was a very philosophical one, but I think every once in a while we need to do a little mindful deep dive into
Yeah,
these things.
yeah, it's like the core of why we do this, like, why we love this, craft.
Yes, and it is a craft. You get creative with it, you enjoy it. It's just a thing that that's amazing. So, I don't know. But yes, I'm so glad to talk to you today, CJ. And if anybody out there has some ideas on what they want to hear from us next for future episodes, please get put in the comments, let us know. And I'm so glad that we got to sit with you all by the fire today.
Yes, it's so nice. Well, until next time.
Yeah, until next time, we will see you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. That's it for this episode of Cozy Kitchen.
We're so glad you stopped by. We can't wait till the next time you join us by the fire. See
See you
you later.
later.